Hello, everyone. Today we'll learn the last halacha in chapter 23 about Muktzeh. And we learned already that there's klisha melachto sur, utensil or tool that is used, its primary purpose is for something that is forbidden, like a hammer that puts nails in the walls, or scissors that are used for cutting paper, which is forbidden on Shabbat, if it's cut in a certain shape or exact line. But we're going to learn about things that after they were used permissibly, even though they are klishim l'achto, we're allowed to move them back to their proper place. We don't have to drop them on the floor or anywhere else. So, in Israel and in many parts of the world, milk does not come in cartons. I'm not sure why, but we have them in bags which are put into this little pitcher that its only purpose is for that. And we even have what's called a cutter, a milk bag cutter. And my Uncle Barry, who's actually visiting now in Fredericton, many, many years ago, he was visiting my parents' house, and he asked who gave this milk bag its bris. And that became a very funny line in our family where yes, you should try to do it as tiny as possible, but of course, people sometimes slip and make it bigger. But this is another permissible use for scissors on Shabbat, so I felt that we could use that image to explain the following halacha. So, as we have seen, one may move a kli shemachto leisur, a utensil that is specifically designated for something that is forbidden on Shabbat, for a permitted purpose. Letzorach gufo, or for its base, letzorach mekomo. So if a muktzeh tool is on a table or on a chair that I want to sit on, we are allowed to move it. Thus, one may take a hammer to crack nuts. After use, one is not required to drop it. Rather, he may return the hammer to its proper place. If there were scissors on the table where one now wants to eat, he need not drop them as close to the table as possible, but may put them away. Or, like I said in this example about the milk bag, that you're using scissors because you don't have your milk cutter or you lost it. Usually, they keep it as a magnet on the fridge, and so you don't have to drop the scissors. You can put them back where they belong. Since he picked them up in a permitted fashion, he may carry them to their proper place. Similarly, if one finishes eating fruit and is left holding the peels or pits that are muktzeh mechamat gufo, because we don't have any use for them unless we have an animal that specifically eats those seeds or peels. He does not need to drop them. Since they reached his hand permissibly, he may take them where he wants. In contrast, once one has already put down a muktzah item that he had been permitted to hold, it resumes its muktzah status. At that point, even if it is not in its proper place, he may no longer move it because again it will be going back to doing weekday activities on Shabbat. Again, just to remind us that all of this is rabbinical, I'm not going to say just, but to remember that that's why there's certain leniencies in this. Um, Similarly, if one forgot that an item is muktzah and picked it up, he must put it down immediately. If one is carrying a muktzah item that he had been permitted to hold, the chatchila he should not shift the object from one hand to the other. This is because some maintain that moving the item to his other hand is like putting it down, in which case he may no longer move it. B'diavad, if he did shift the muktzah item to his other hand, he may continue going to the place where they want to put it down. And so now we go back to something that we already discussed about children, and the next chapter is completely about chinuch, of our educating our children to keep Shabbat as best as possible based on their level of understanding and believing. But let's finish this halacha. If a child is younger than the age of chinuch, which we said was very subjective per family, so we know that for sure a 3-year-old is not Gil Chinuch, is not able to understand halacha properly. And we know for sure that a girl at 12 and a boy at 13 are already bar mitzvah. So chinuch is somewhere in between that. Depends on the family, depends on the child, their mental and physical capacities, etc. One may hold their hand and walk with them, even if they are holding something muktzeh in their other hand. As long as the adult is not carrying the child, the adult is not considered carrying the muktzeh item. However, one may not pick up a child who is holding something muktzeh. Rather, the adult should first shake the muktzeh item out of the child's hand and then pick him up. This is the lechatchila, the suggested action, and we'll see in a minute. This shaking is permitted because it is min hatzad, which was the previous halacha that we're allowed to move things with the side of our body or instead of our picking up with our hand for a permitted purpose, i.e., to pick up the child. If the child is crying hysterically and will not calm down unless someone picks them up along with the muktzah item he is holding, one may pick them up. So that's basically the balance, meaning you don't want to cause your child distress, but if they already are the age of chinuch, and you tell them that stone that they just picked up is not shiny or not can't be used for anything, um, or some other example, maybe a branch or something else that is on the ground, and they pick it up. We try to teach them anyway not to pick things up from the floor. And in Israel, when I was growing up, there was a real fear of things that were booby trapped to become small bombs, and so we were told that you're not allowed to pick up anything from the ground, not only on Shabbat, just in general. So again, it's basically if your child has a habit of picking up their stones or things like that are muktzeh, just to get them out of that habit. But again, it depends on what their chinuch is and how well they understand this idea. So, as we will see in the next chapter, the sages permitted transgressing rabbinic enactments, which are muktzeh, for example, for the sake of a sick child, and a child who is crying hysterically is liable to become weak like a sick person. However, if the object the child is holding is valuable, so it will be the muktzeh mechmat kasron kis, so like money notes um, or a knife, a sharp knife, or a kiddush cup that's made out of silver. One may not pick them up because we are concerned that if the object falls, the adult will end up picking it up and carrying it. So I didn't mean a kiddush cup that we use on Shabbat. I meant like something that we only use once a year, like the kosher aliyah or something like that, where it's valuable and we don't want it to fall. And maybe again, the child is not strong enough to make sure that it doesn't fall, and so that is our concern. So I was thinking it's not really a good connection, but the very first connection that Rashi makes between the first three mitzvot that are mentioned in Ki Tetzeh is the idea of Ben Sororom, or a son who's rebellious and does not listen to the parents. One of the opinions of the in the Gemara that has never happened, because there's so many restrictive details that are serious. But one of the rabbis, I'm not sure who, spoke about education in general. He said that when you say a ben soror more, the one of the things that the parents have to say to the elders is enenu shoma bekolenu. He does not listen to what we tell them to do, and so in many families, there's kids who don't listen to the parents. But what's bothersome is the idea that Rashi says it and the Talmud says it, that the kolenu means that they have to have one voice. It's not possible in the world that two people, especially male and female, have the exact same tone and sound of voice and all that. So this rabbi explained that, I think it was Rabbi Boston, I'm not sure. This rabbi explained that bekolenu means that we have a united front. When we tell the child not to do something or to do something, we are both in line with it. It's not that he can go to mommy and say, "Hey, daddy, let me do this," even though she knows that he didn't, or vice versa. And so that's bekolenu. Bekolenu means that we have to have a united front. We're not fighting with the child. It's just the idea of chinuch is based on this idea that the family works together to educate and to bring up, and we don't break the rules occasionally just because we feel like it or because they're crying hysterically, like Rabbi Melamed suggested. They shouldn't get to that kind of situation where they cry hysterically if the parents have had a good way of educating these children from a younger age, and that way, as long as there's no confusion, as long as there's no um, mistakes, then it shouldn't even happen, and that's maybe the explanation of why the rabbis say that Ben Soromer never actually took place. But it can happen if there isn't proper chinuch, and I think also they should recognize that it's somewhat what they did or didn't do for this child that brought them to such a tragic end. So we'll stop here, and we'll wish everybody a good Shabbos.